What is up, guys? Cruise Designs here, and this is part 3 in my intro tutorial series. And I'm really sorry, it's been over a month since part 2, and all I've been getting is comments on my profile, on my channel, getting messages saying, when's part 3, when's part 3, and it's finally here. I'm sorry I put it off so long. I won't put part 4 off for as long, but then again, it's not as if I'm the only one who does this kind of thing. Strats doesn't post videos, or at least doesn't post the sequels to videos for at least a month. And there are other people out there, so you just got to wait a bit. But the first thing you should notice is that I've changed what I'm using as an example. I didn't like the ABC in purple and white, it was a bit stupid really. So I've changed it to KD, and this doesn't really affect anything you've done so far, and I've still got the planes here that have been disabled. Make sure you go and watch part 1 and 2 on my channel if you haven't. It's pretty important that you do. So I'm just going to render this and show you what I've got. So you should have something like this as well. It's got some nice reflections here from the planes that have the luminous white material on, and then we've also got this reflective material around the edge. And in this part we're going to start on the animation. Now this isn't scripted or anything. I haven't decided how much I'm going to do, how far I'm going to go in each tutorial, and I haven't really decided what I'm going to do in each tutorial, in each part. So I have tried to record this tutorial quite a few times over several days. It keeps messing up, but if I screw up this time, I'm just going to keep going because I know you guys are desperate for part 3. So let's get going. So the first part of the animation is for this, the black backplate to drop down from above, and the text won't be in the scene, it'll be over here. So we'll have the black backplate drop down and then the text fly in, and then they'll do a bit of spinning, they'll spin around a bit, and we'll kind of cover that spin up with some optical flares in After Effects, just to let you know. So let's get going on that. Now, the way you want to do animation is, instead of starting at frame 0 and working your way through the animation, go to the end of the animation and start from there, or the end of the section of animation. And we're also, mine's already on 500, but down here, this should be on 90 for you. Just whack that up to 500 for now, or a high number. We shouldn't need 500, but it doesn't hurt to put it up that high, and it doesn't affect your animation if you lower it later on. So we're going to go to 90 frames. That should be enough for the backplate to drop down, and we're going to keyframe it. Put a keyframe there, and then we're going to go back, and I'm going to go to frame 20 because I want a bit of time in the intro where there's nothing on the screen. I want it to fly down after a little while. So at frame 20, I'm going to zoom out, drag it up, and keyframe it there. So now if I play it, it just slides into place, and because we worked backwards, we know that it is exactly where it was before we started doing any animation. So we're also going to add a bit of rotation now. So at this keyframe, I'm going to zoom out a bit. We're going to rotate it slightly. Go rotate it like that, and like that. This is all up to you how you do this, and keyframe it there. So now we have it rotating, sliding into place, and you can always change it. Just keep going back to frame 20 and changing it and keyframing it. Okay, that looks pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to have. We zoom back in and play it. This drops into place. Nice, like that. And now we need the text to fly in, so we're going to scroll along in our animation a bit to here, and now we want these letters to fly in. Now I've actually decided, because the letters are going to fly in from the side, they're not going to be straight on flying in. We're actually going to keyframe this at 90, and we're going to take both of these and rotate them slightly like this, like so, and we'll have it like that. It's going to fly in just from up here. Keyframe it there. So now it flies in and stops slightly sideways. So now we can come to the text and change the angle, and we want to drag this out. This is really up to you where you want it to, when you want it to fly in. So you want to come to the frame where you want it to hit. So I think that's you want it to hit quite fast, because once it hits, it's going to spin. So you want it to look like it's got a bit of momentum. So I'm going to go to frame 105 and keyframe it there, and then come back to 90 and drag it out of the scene. Keyframe it. So flies in like so. In fact, I'm going to drag this back a bit, this back a bit. There we go. So I've got the frame it starts moving is 85. If you see here, it's not moving. 85 starts to fly in and hits the back plate at 100. So if we zoom in now, and so it's about there. Okay, let's look at it from the beginning. There we go. That looks pretty good so far. I think I'm actually going to change it again. I'm going to move this back another 5 frames, this back another 5 frames, and I'm going to move it back another 5 frames. So I've moved it back 10 frames altogether. So the animation now starts at 75 frames and finishes at 90. This is all up to you. This is more like a guide in a way. So that's what we've got so far. Looking pretty good. We now want it to spin, so we're now going to highlight both of these, highlight both of them, and just a minute, I'll be back in a minute. Right, sorry about that, just had to quickly do something, but I'm back. Right, so yeah, we've got this flying in, and now we want it to spin. So to do that, we're going to highlight both of these, your text, your backplate, and your letters, and go to objects and group objects. So now this is a group, and don't worry, the animation is still there, but we want it to spin, and also it has turned slightly to the side. That is a problem with animation sometimes, doing this kind of stuff. You encounter problems and you just have to fix them. Fortunately, this problem is very easy. All you have to do is move the camera slightly to the side. So we've got this, and now we need it to spin, and we want it to start spinning the moment it hits, which is frame 90. So this is the one part where we won't be working the animation back to front. We'll just do it normally. So we're going to come to the null object and keyframe it there, and then it's just a matter of spinning it, and I'm going to spin it every 5 frames, I think, and this is all up to you how you want to do this. So you can just rotate it however you want. It's also, just a minute, It's also what's also helpful is using the rotation down here. If you use these to rotate it, then you can. It's always a lot easier, really. So I'm going to rotate mine on the P axis, P rotation, around like that, and keyframe it there. And so as you can see, it hits and spins backwards. And then I want it to spin a bit more on the P axis, but I also want it to spin on the H axis. So it's going to come around like that. Keyframe it there. So it hits, spins around like that. And I think we'll go 5 more frames. And after this, you just have to try and line it up with the camera. So perfectly face on. Like that. Like that. Slightly to the side. And that's probably just about it. So this is all trial and error, really. Just keep trying to get it perfect. And this probably isn't the best way. This is the way I do it, and I'm going to leave it like that and keyframe it there. So we've got text flying in, hits that, spins round. Looking pretty good so far. Okay, so we just render this as well. Yep, that's going to look pretty good. And you can also just center the camera up. And once you've got it nice and centered, it is also a good idea to put a camera down, and that means you won't have to keep moving to the same spot. You won't have to keep trying to align yourself, like if you come out like that to look at something, you don't have to try and align yourself back again. So, just a minute, how much? Okay. Once you put a camera down, that will be the end of part 3. So, I think that's about lined up. Shift it this way a bit. Okay, that's pretty good. So, we're going to come to the lights menu and grab a camera. And you'll see a green line around the screen, around the workspace. And that is your camera. And when it's green, when the edges are green, you can move about and have a look at what's going on in the animation, and you can also see the camera here. If you don't really want to see the camera, you can just do the double dot. So there's 2 grey dots here. This is what we used in part 2 to disable the 2 luminous planes. Just come to the top dot and double click it so it goes red, and the camera will disappear. And then if you want to come back to the camera's view, there's a little black box there's a little black square with a dot in the middle. Click that and it'll go white, and you'll come back to the view of the camera. And every time you want to go closer to your animation or move around the workspace, make sure you uncheck that and make it black again. Otherwise you will be moving the camera around. And then say I do that, come out of the camera, then I want to go back into the camera, and it's screwed it up. So that's part 3. I hope you could follow everything. If you do have questions, then leave them in the comments section. In part 4, we'll be doing the 3D text that will spin in, and mine will say Cruise Designs. And then part 5 and 6, it might only take one part 5, which could be the last part, will be done in After Effects. And we'll also go over render settings, etc. in part 4 probably. So, as I said, I hope this tutorial was helpful. Leave your questions or problems in the comments. This is Cruise Designs. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.